afternoon, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, investors, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Thematic discussion, Unlocking a Net Zero Jakarta. First and foremost, please allow me to introduce myself. I am Megan C., Director of Partnerships at EcoBusiness, a media and intelligence platform that's focused on sustainable development, and I'm very, very honored to be here today to be part of this event. For your information, this event is also being live streamed via Zoom virtual meeting and being broadcasted on the Pemprov DKI Jakarta and Layanan Jakarta YouTube channels. This session will be conducted in English, but for your convenience, interpretation tools are also available at the desk near the entrance of the ballroom, or you may also ask the staff in the room as well. As we prepare to start the event, can we please kindly request everyone to switch your mobile phones to silent mode to ensure smooth progression of the program. Thank you very much for your cooperation. So we have a very diverse group of participants here ready to discuss various investment opportunities. Before we dive into the discussion, allow me to give you a glimpse into unlocking net zero Jakarta. Future cities require mobility and energy solutions that are sustainable, affordable, secure, and inclusive, integrated with customer-centric infrastructure and services. Based on the Tracking Transport report by the International Energy Agency in 2020, global transportation is still responsible for 24% of direct carbon emissions from fuel combustion and accountable for nearly 7 gigatons of global carbon emissions. The transportation sector was recorded as the fastest growing market in society due to increasing mobilization in cities. Despite the fact that global growing concern for the environment has become more prevalent, carbon emissions are increasing every year. The concern of transportation-related emissions particularly raises a discussion among all countries to shift towards a more environmentally friendly options. Therefore, the convergence of clean energy and sustainable mobility is critical. Electric vehicles, or EVs as we call them, are one of the solutions that are able to unlock a net zero Jakarta because of the significantly lower emissions than gasoline burning cars over the course of their driving lifetime. Responding to this trend, Southeast Asian countries are preparing for the EV revolution. In this region, Indonesia benefits as a low-cost manufacturing hub and a very promising market for this. Almost 23% of the world's nickel resources, a key ingredient in lithium batteries, are in Indonesia. This indicates the massive potential offered by Indonesia's EV market that recently has captured several biggest companies in the automotive industry, such as Hyundai and Toyota. EV development will be a game changer for Indonesia's future transportation industry, supporting millions of the mass population. With this, the session will be focused on electric vehicles and the New Green Deal, government investment for a sustainable future, PLN vision for a sustainable future powering the electric vehicle revolution, greening the commute, how green public transportation transforms our cities, and last but not least, Jakarta's readiness in supporting the EV industry regionally. Without further ado, I'd like to invite to come on stage our distinguished speakers. We have the Head of Manufacturing Industry and Electric Vehicles Division, Coordinating Ministry of Maritime Affairs and Investment, Mr. Arianto Wibowo. We also have the We also have Bayu Sugara, the Manager of Product Development and Retail and Commerce Directorate, PLN Indonesia. We also have Mr. Daud Joseph, Director of Operations and Safety, PT Transjakarta, Jakarta. And last but not least, we also have Mr. Wahono, Brotosanjoyo, Director of Corporate Affairs of Hyundai Motor ASEAN HQ. Thank you, speakers, for being with us today. We're going to go on next to have the first presentation that will be delivered by the distinguished Head of Manufacturing Industry and Electric Vehicles Division, Coordinating Ministry of Maritime Affairs and Investment, Mr. Arianto Wibowo. Please take the podium for your presentation.
Okay. 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 Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad to see you all here with the same aim, with the same spirit. We go to the green investment and for the sustainable future. So allow me to present some from Coordinating Ministry of Maritime Affairs. Yes. And why is BEV? I think we all already know why the BEV industry can reduce negative environmental externality and bring a lot of benefit to the economy. We know that BEV can reducing emission, for example, for reducing fuel consumption and emission, and our note, it will be 603 million tons of emission CO2 in 2021. And number two, BEV can be as energy resilient and efficiency. It will be reducing imported oil until 86 trillion import in 2021. And the important thing is also reduce fuel subsidy budget until 502 trillion in 2021. I think is very important why Indonesia choosing BEV to be a next transportation. And the third, the important thing also is also circular economy, because EV will drive sustainable economy, for example, for battery recycle. So in the future, we can make a new energy with recycling a battery. Maybe it's different with gasoline. It's also, we can make new energy more by recycling the battery. And number four, we can get economy diversification, like a downstream industry and development battery industry. So BEV will create positive externality and promote greener technology. Why invest in Indonesia? I think it's the most important thing. Indonesia is the largest automotive market in ASEAN with the largest sales of car and motorcycle in this region. In the data, we get car sales in 2022 is about 1 billion car sales in Indonesia. This is the biggest than the other region, than the other country. And the second one, motorcycle sales in 2022, it reached 5.2 billion in Indonesia. It's the biggest market for car and motorcycle. In Indonesia, automotive industry has an important role in the economy. Impact of automotive in Indonesia is 70 trillion export and 4% GDP contribution and 22 trillion foreign direct investment and 1.5 million workers. And then to build the EV industry in Indonesia, we know it will be require a big investment and precise target market. For the example, for the supply opportunity, existing capacity per year, Indonesia still has a small capacity in producing EV. Right now, we only have a 29,000 unit per year for car and 2,480 unit per year for bus and 1.4 million for motorcycle. And we have a demand opportunity about target production for motorcycle is 6 billion in 2025, car in 400,000 in 2025, and model and type, Indonesia is the best market for low-cost seven-seater car and low-cost scooter motorcycle. There is the opportunity, we have two, supply opportunity and demand opportunity, and right now we still have a small capacity. We need more capacity until 2025 in 400,000 for car and 6 billion in motorcycle. Okay. So this is some data about an investment, existing investment in Indonesia. There are only 3 existing car model in Indonesia right now produced by local industry. Number 1 is Wuling EV, number 2 Ioniq 5, and number 3 DVSK Glora. Right now it's still 3 brand from the local industry. On the other hand, seven-seater car have a 61% segment market, and five-seater car have 21% segment market. And more than 50% car sales on 2022, the average price is under 300 million rupiah. So it will become the big opportunity for fill the target market, like the graph below. For supporting regulation for EV ecosystem, Indonesia have made a lot of regulation to support EV ecosystem. Number 1, for charging infrastructure, Indonesia already have a regulation of Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, number 1, year 2023. And for development EV industry, Indonesia also have regulation of Ministry of Industry, number 6, year 2022, about specification and roadmap development and local component development. Also have regulation of Ministry of Industry number 7 about classification of CKD and EKD for EV. And for safety aspect, Indonesia also have regulation of Ministry of Transportation number 87 year 2020. Supporting regulation for EV ecosystem or incentive, Indonesia also have government regulation number 74 year 2021 about tax incentive, especially for luxury tax for EV producer. We also have regulation of Ministry of Finance number 224 year 2022 about import duty on regional comprehensive economic partnership agreement. It will give you 0% for completely knocked down for vehicle from China. And then we have road tax incentive. It's come from regulation of Ministry of Internal Affairs number 6 year 2023. This will be 0% for road tax for BEV. So, and then we also have regulation of Ministry of Finance number 38 year 2023 about tax incentive 10% for car and bus. And the last we have a regulation of Ministry of Industry number 6 year 2023 about cash incentive. It will be 7 million rupiah for each motorcycle. So, why automotive market Indonesia will follow the electric vehicle transition? There is the 4 reasons we can see together today. Number 1, saving costs. Electric vehicle have lower operating costs compared to conventional vehicle. For example, it will be saving fuel, local tax, and maintenance. And then sustainability awareness. Awareness of environmental issue will drive consumer interest in EV. And the third, global trend. Global adoption, popularity, and availability of suitable EV model for the Indonesian market will support the EV ecosystem. And the last, EV has become mandatory vehicle for the government. It On the President Instruction number 7, year 2022, official vehicle for central and local government must be EV. I think this is a good reason why should build and develop EV ecosystem in Indonesia. I think that's all for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mic check. Thank you, Mr. Arianto Wibowo. We are up next, Mr. Bayu Sugara, who will be providing the presentation on behalf of Ms. Ririn Rakmawadini. Please take the podium.
Untuk next. Okay. Thank you, Megan. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Bayu from National Electricity Company. You might know it is PLN, but please relax. I'm not going to marketing you to add your power at home today. Even though our product just launched a couple days ago, it is a product for celebrating our Independence Day. Okay, I will straight to the topic, PLN support for, pardon, I think this is the old presentation. I think this is not the new one. Yeah.
I think they're getting on the new presentation in the next 15 seconds.
Okay. Okay, let's continue. It is sustainable future for by powering the electric vehicle revolution. Next, please. Okay, I can do it. Okay. We know that our president has predicts that in 2027, Indonesia must be a larger producer in EV sector. And to make it happen, we believe it must be integrate nickel, coppers, bauxite, and others. So this integration will produce some EV batteries, lithium batteries to achieve the higher market value. We all understand about that. We know that we have to, from the data that we see, we have to decrease at least 38% emission in 2035 by emission that is produced by energy sector and transportation sector. That's why maybe it is already explained that we have launched our president has launched a regulation number 55 in 2019 to accelerate the EV infrastructure. This Indonesian government fully support accelerating the transition to achieve the net zero emission in 2060. For this thing, I think the Indonesian government is pushing to acceleration the electric vehicle ecosystem by providing some structure stimulus. I think it is already explained by the former speaker, but I want to I want to just put in several things. The first one, it is about the charging tariff. It is the charging tariff. It is under mineral and resource Ministry. It is number 1 20 and 23. So our government also hope the research and the development of the innovation can still going. Then what PLN should do about this? PLN fully support the acceleration of the electric vehicle ecosystem, the EV ecosystem. At least we have three things that we have done. The first one, we have to make sure the sufficient electricity supply. That's the first one. The second one, we built some EV charging station in several areas in Indonesia. And the third one, we have built some stimulus to give the incentive of using this EV. And these three things is combined in or managed by PLN Mobile. The integration is in our application, it is PLN Mobile. So the result is at least 2,000 our customer or EV users using this incentive. 2,000 customers using 30% incentive for home charging services. It is when you charge your EV on the 10 p.m. until 5 a.m., it is automatically, the tariff will be deducted until 30%. Almost 2,000 EV users in Indonesia using this now. And we have also built the EV charging station for four-wheelers, and it is 616. It is 2/3 of EV charging station on the market now. So this is show the commitment of PLN to build this ecosystem. We have almost 80,000 charging transaction. We also have 70 unit battery swapping station. It is installed in Jakarta, Bandung, and also Banten. And to make it happen or to accelerate this, we understand that we have to coordinate with other partners, at least 20 partners that have agreement with PLN together to build this ecosystem. It is based on our data, at least 12,000 megawatt hour the electricity sold until June 2023. This can be managed by using or by looking our PLN Mobile and an application that not only built to increase your power, but to combine everything about this building EV ecosystem. You can see on the screen, we have built at least 53 EV chargers in Jakarta. Is ready to support the EV ecosystem. Now, when you install the PLN Mobile, you can check, you can identify where the EV charging station is when maybe your EV lack of the batteries. You need to charge. You can check. You can identify it by using this PLN Mobile. In Jakarta, we have already put 53 EV chargers in Jakarta. But it's not a business as usual. We have to collaboration with all business entities. And we invite investor to join with us to build the charging station business through a partnership scheme. If you have land, you can ask to the PLN how to make a business profitable not only for PLN but for you as an investor. Or you have a charging partner. Or you are as a charging partner. So if you have the land, if you have the charging partner, just come to PLN. We have a partnership scheme to make this to make it happen. I mean, the ecosystem will accelerate. Also, in PLN itself, at least we built. I have already told you about the incentive for 30% tariff when you're charging in overnight charging. The second one, we also give the discount if the EV users have need to increase the power. Usually, maybe for example, when EV users want to upgrade their power from maybe let's say 4,400 and want to increase it until maybe 7,700, it is only pay about 150,000 rupiah. Meanwhile, when there is no discount, some or our customers should pay until 3 million or 4 million. It is what we've done to accelerate this ecosystem. This is some picture that shown us about our role to build this EV ecosystem. The first one, we know that in EV charger two-wheelers, there is no standardized battery substation. We have to make it standardized by having agreement with the motor manufacturing batteries that is proposed by IBC, in Indonesia Battery Company. And the second one, we also have agreement with we call it Himbara. It is a bank under state-owned enterprise ministry. If you want to buy EV, two-wheelers or four-wheelers, you get some discount, or maybe you can frequently or monthly buying these things. And also we have agreement with manufacturer and fleet management. So, and we also have agreement to produce the electric power motorcycle charging infrastructure. To conclude this thing, I think we cannot do it alone. We all together should collaborate together. We need to transform the challenges in the business EV ecosystem into a profitable opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bayu, for providing that presentation. And next, I'd like to invite the Director of Operations and Safety for PT Transportasi Jakarta, Mr. Daud Joseph, to present next.
Thank you, Megan. Ladies and gentlemen, our distinguished guests, I'm honored to have you all in this place and so glad to see some familiar faces. Let me start the presentation with a rhyme, like what we used to do in Jakarta. Ke Sarinah beli fashion. Just in case some guest doesn't know, some foreign guests, we should say cakep. Cakep means what do you say in English? Like cool. Yeah. Belanja ke Sarinah beli fashion. Jangan lupa untuk cuci mata. Berbicara tentang unlocking net zero emission, mari kita lihat karya Transjakarta. Ladies and gentlemen, if you see this picture, you are looking at the traffic jam in the capital city of Indonesia. This is the people that use private vehicles, and this is the public transportation. So this is the biggest homework that Jakarta has to solve, how to shift people from private cars, private motorcycles, to public transportation. So, speaking about unlocking the net zero emission in this huge city, we have to talk about how we are issuing the policy to push people out of private vehicles and pulling people to public transportation. So in the next slide, we are looking at how Transjakarta is making way through the difficulties in the big city to create 60% of mode share, meaning by 2050, we are going to have 6 mobility done by public transportation and another 4 done with private vehicles. And to achieve that goal, as we see, we are now Transjakarta operating 230 routes. And that's a huge leap compared to 2016, 7 years ago, when Transjakarta is only having 12 corridors. To operate that 12 corridors, we only need 300 buses. But now, operating 230 routes, we are now operating 4,300 buses. And we are not working on ourselves, but we are cooperating with 18 bus operators. If you see now the buses, the mini buses, the micro buses operating around the city, those are the operators operating inside the city from 50 to 60 years ago. But now, all those operators, let's say Mayasari Bhakti, Kopaja, Steady Safe, Biang Lala, PPD, Damri, you name it. It's all under the management of Transjakarta as the bus management company. And now, we are not only serving the bus corridors only, but we are now operating the feeder bus. And we are also serving the first mile and last mile. Now, we are covering 88% of the citizens in Jakarta. So if you live in Jakarta now, you can find the nearest bus stop to enjoy Transjakarta only 500 meters away. So that's how far we go. Starting 2004, the governor, Pak Sutioso, at that time, started the first corridor, and we cover only 1% of the population. And now we have reached 88%. But what becoming our pride is not the number of routes and the number of buses, but the number of passengers that we serve. Now, we don't call it passengers again, but we call them by customers. Because by serving them, we know that they demand certain quality that we should satisfy. If you see the number here, in 2015, when we first established the company, the number of customers served in a day is only about 300,000 customers. But now, after the pandemic, it creates and breaks new records even higher than before the pandemic. Before the pandemic, we served 1,041,000 passengers a day. But after the pandemic, it's only last month that we served our highest number of passengers, which is 1.1 million passengers a day. That's even higher than commuter line, which is a rail-based transportation. In some other countries, for example, like New York or Tokyo, rail-based transportation used to have a huge, bigger number of passengers being served. But in Jakarta, it's bus being the champion. So where are you going from this point forward? Last year, we are starting to operate electric vehicle buses. we are complying the governor's instruction that we should all shift from internal combustion engine buses to electric buses. We are going to reach a new number of buses that we operate, from 4,300 buses now to 10,000 buses by 2030. And seeing this chart here, we are now in the level of reaching 100% in the next 7 years. And that's not a long time. That's a very short period. So we have to do something that is quite extraordinary to reach this goal. Because this city has declared that before 2030, at least at the year of 2025, we will no longer buy internal combustion engine buses. So this is what we've done in the last 3 years. After doing the trials from 2019 to 2021, we then decided to buy electric buses. The brand that we already tried technically is a brand from China, which is the biggest market share owner in the world right now for electric vehicle. And now we are operating 52 units of them. Unfortunately, none of them are coming from Astra. None of them are coming from the biggest automotive manufacturer in Indonesia. So, other than that brand, I may mention the brands, maybe the BYD, Golden Dragon, Higer, Zongtong, Foxtron, and many more to come. But we are looking forward to invite more brands to Transjakarta to test their durability and their efficiency in city transportation. Starting March last year, we are operating 31st electric buses. And just last month, we are adding another 22 units. So now in Transjakarta, we are operating 52 units of electric buses. In the next few months, PPD, now merging into Perum Damri, is going to add another 26 electric buses, and Biang Lala Metropolitan is adding another 22 buses. So by the end of this year, you're going to see 100 electric buses operating inside the town. And looking at the numbers, 10,000 electric vehicles, that means there's another 9,900 buses queuing behind those 100 buses. So we definitely going to need more competitors showing us the best quality among the other brands. What do we experience in this 1.5 years, 18 months of operating electric buses? Is Transjakarta happy? The answers are, number one, yes, because more daily mileage per bus is operated. By more mileage being operated, the price of the service is getting lower. And that would make the provincial government of Jakarta more happy because they will spend less subsidy for the passengers. Number two, electric buses apparently have very few breakdowns. So the less number of buses not operating, the higher the utilization is, and the bigger the productivity. And the third one is, we find from the trial version, the trial period, and compared to the operation period, we find that the electricity consumed during the operation period is even more efficient. So we buy less electricity from user. So unfortunately, it's less revenue. But it's great for the for the bus operators or the investors? That would be the answer to the next question. Is the investor happy operating electric buses? The answer is yes, because the fleets now is able to operate and perform more than the expected kilometers. We expect the operators to at least operate their buses 196 kilometers a day. But what we have reached now is they operate more than 210 kilometers a day. So that is the picture of how the battery is able to fulfill the needs a bus to operate in a day. And since Transjakarta is being paid by rupiah per mileage, not by the fare paid by the passengers. By the way, Transjakarta is the cheapest public transportation in the world right now. You only have to pay 3,500. That's about 30 cents. And you can travel, for you guys living in Jakarta and surrounding cities, you can live in southern or eastern Bekasi, Bekasi Timur, sonoan dikit, kira-kira begitu ya. And you can work in Serpong, that will be 80 miles, and you only pay 30 cents. So, who pays for the operation? The government of Jakarta pays for it. The subsidy is more than 70% of the total operating cost. So this is the government of Jakarta showing the commitment in unlocking the net zero emission in this capital city. So with this going forward, we are looking for another perspective of our stakeholders. The stakeholders, by the way, in Transjakarta are not only the government, are not only the investors, not only the bus operators, but also the citizen, the population in Jakarta, the passengers. If you see here, these are some examples of the quotes taken from the social media showing that passengers are very happy riding the electric buses, because now they know that even though they ride vehicles, they know that they are paying for environment-friendly vehicles. But now we have to admit that we are facing some big challenges. Number one, it's all about the money. The total operating costs of ownership in operating electric buses is about 18 to 25% higher than operating internal combustion engine buses. Where does it come from? It comes from the price of the vehicle. It's almost 3 times higher than the investment of charging facility. Well, unfortunately, PLN still charge us with a significant amount of money when we are building a new transformators. So these costs should be paid by the customers. Once again, not the customers that are paying 3,500, but paid by the government. But then we are seeing a silver lining out there when electric vehicles is becoming more mainstream, because the bigger the quantity, the lower the price will be. I hope so. And the cost should be justified by the contribution in environment by operating these electric vehicles. So this is what I mean. We are now a corporation. We are not government, we are not a social institution. We have to justify every penny that comes out from our wallet. Meaning, if I pay premium by 18 to 25%, we have to be able to prove that this premium price has another benefit and advantage in the environment aspect. I'm going to give you numbers. Vehicles, motorcycles and cars in Jakarta is 25 million. Do you imagine with 10 million population, the vehicles are 25 millions, meaning one person owns 2.5 vehicles. But that's the fact. Meanwhile, Transjakarta, if we see from our plan 2030, our buses maximum is going to be 10,000. Although we are shifting all those 10,000 buses to electric vehicles, 10,000 divided by 25 million is only 0.03%. How can we make a blue sky in Jakarta with only 0.03%? That means we are not the only player who should change the game. There should be another millions of vehicles changing their pattern, changing their model of doing mobility. So we will be able to prove that becoming the first one to change the game is being followed by another millions of vehicles behind us. So by then, we can balance the premium price spent with the environment positive effects. What do we need to achieve that? Now, we definitely need the strong commitment not only by the provincial government of Jakarta, but also by the national government. Yesterday, we met at the Fairmont Hotel with the mayor of Singapore, Mayor Fahmi. He's reminding us that in Singapore, there's a very strong policy about adding prices to private vehicle ownership. That's why people hesitant to buy private vehicles and then automatically shift to public transportation. That is one of the alternatives. That might not be the option that we choose, but there should be one strong push and pull policy that can be combined to make people go out from their private vehicles to public transportation. And for you guys coming from vehicle manufacturers, I see Hyundai, my friend here in front. I should let you know that up to now, there's no single manufacturers has the courage to give battery warranty more than 8 years. Why is it so important for Transjakarta? We are contracting the operators by multi-years contract, which is 10 years. If manufacturers only give warranty up to 8 years, there's still a 2-year gap, and that's a risk, a very big risk for the operators. And speaking of investment, today we are attending the Jakarta Investment Forum. Risk is the enemy of investment. So we should solve this problem. So anyone, any brand could come to us with a 10-year battery warranty. You are most welcome. So this is what's going to be the payback. All operators operating in Jakarta should be paid by rupiah per kilometers. You are not responsible of how many passengers being served or riding your bus every day. How many income going to be earned by your bus. But you are going to be paid by the service that you do. How many mileage do you operate every day? By that, up to now, all those 18 operators are operating in a profit statement. So, with this, I would like to close with 2 sentences. There's a saying that says like this: everybody wish to go to heaven, right? Everybody wish to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die today, right? unfortunately, that's what happened in public transportation. Everybody say, we want a bigger and better public transportation. But unfortunately, everybody wants to be the last person who stays in their private vehicles. You are only 500 meters away from our nearest shelter here. So please enjoy the city, enjoy Transjakarta. Good day.
Thank you, Mr. Daud, for providing that very thought-provoking presentation. And last but not least, we have Director of Corporate Affairs of Hyundai Motor ASEAN, Mr. Wahono Brotosanjoyo. Please.
Thank you, Megans. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Wahono from Hyundai ASEAN headquarters, Jakarta. So today we would like to share our update and maybe future development plan, Hyundai investment in Indonesia, and also our support to Jakarta province. So we have three main agenda that we would like to share today. First, I would like to inform you about what is Indonesia roadmap for energy and for emissions. And then second, we would like to share you about what is current Hyundai achievement and future development. And then I would like to offer you what is near investment that can be offered to all of you. First, as we know that global already have target for net zero emission or net zero carbon in 2050, and this has been known in G20 in last year. And as we know that Indonesia now already announced new target for Indonesia for net carbon emission or net carbon energy. This is in 2060. And based on the latest new and renewable energy mix that has been announced by Ministry of Energy, that in 2025 Indonesia would like to achieve around 23%, and in 2050 around 31%. So if we see in the chart that starting from 2030, emission will be better and better, and finally in 2050 will near the 0%. This is our roadmap in Indonesia regarding the electrification, especially for passenger and commercial cars. So based on government announcement by Ministry of Industry that we have target in 2025, we have target to achieve our sales for EV, and this is produced by Indonesia in number 400,000 units. And in 2030, we have planned in around number 600,000 units, and in 2035, we have target around 1 million units. I think this is very ambitious target for Indonesia to scale it, to accelerate EV, and we hope Indonesia can become a hub of electrification for ASEAN and maybe Asia Pacific regions. And as previous explanation from Ministry of Coordinating Maritime and also from PLN, government Indonesia has given many regulation incentive for car maker, for us, for Hyundai. For example, President of Indonesia, Mr. Jokowi, he has released for regulation number 55. This is regarding acceleration for EV. Mr. President already announced and offered to all of car makers, not only for Hyundai, to come to Indonesia to invest for EV by introduce these regulations. And then Hyundai see that this regulation give benefit to us, so why we come to Indonesia, and then we make collaboration with Indonesia government, and then government give many incentive that if we calculate now the number of fiscal incentive near all is 0%. So I think it is good for new investor, for example, Tesla, BYD, and another brand to come to Indonesia to enjoy the benefit the currently government give to car makers. So as we know, as mentioned by Ministry of Maritime, that government give PPN incentive 0%, BBN 0%, BBN is car registrations, and PPN. PPN is value-added tax. If we import, value-added tax will be 0. But with minimum requirements will be TKDN or localization minimum 40%. And another incentive, PLN, they informed that if we charge from 10 until morning, 5 p.m., we will get discount around 30%. So this is also give us benefit. And another benefit from Ministry of Home Affairs and Ministry of Transport. So this is give us opportunity to decrease our price, and also a customer can enjoy it. So if we see in the left side, in future in 2050, mostly in future electric vehicle will dominate the transition for energy. And this is Hyundai part to contribute to develop the electrification, especially in Indonesia. Hyundai commit Indonesia would like to make ecosystem for EV, starting from how to develop battery, how to develop car, and how to create investment for charging. So we will commit in this area. So for your information that currently we have developed for battery cell production in Karawang, collaboration between LG Chemical and Hyundai. And we have planned to produce battery in around 150,000 units per year, and will be start production in next year. And also we have another battery factory in Cikarang. This is 100% shareholder by Hyundai, and we will produce in next years. And regarding our support for electric car, we have start our production in last year. This is already known by Mr. President and related minister in March, that Hyundai produced Ioniq 5 in Cikarang until today. And we hope in near future we can create another model. So later I will explain you the detail. And also not only battery car, but next we will create new investment for charging station. But we still have homework for future. The life set as raw or mining. So we need to create this resources of Indonesia, because Indonesia currently rich of nickel and some material of electric vehicle battery. So we need to make this one downstreaming, as every time, many times, many minister asking that Indonesia would like to downstreaming our mineral to become more beneficial component for Indonesia, especially battery for electric vehicle. So another homework, we need to create this material in order to this can be part of our component made in Indonesia to supply our battery component in future. And another homework we can create, we call is UBSS. UBS is a battery storage system. This is like a parallel combination for battery, so we can use our used battery, and this can be parallelly used for UBS system. Next, I will explain to you. This is our achievement for production and sales until February. Why I inform you in February? Because after February, we have new regulation for value-added tax, and I will inform you later what is impact value-added tax for our sales. So until February, our sales around 3,000 units. From 2021 until 23. So we start our investment from CBU from end of 2020 by introduce Ionic and Kona, all Ionic and Kona. And then we start our production in March 2022 by CKD. And we have planned to make CBU, mean complete production, all component in Indonesia in 2028. This is our ambitions, and we will create another model that more suitable for Indonesia market, like small SUV, MPV, and so on in near future. And in the right side, I would like to inform you that currently Hyundai become the #1 car maker quantity for sales in Indonesia. And #2 is Tesla, Lexus, Nissan, BYD, and Toyota. But maybe you give question to me, where is the Wuling? So we call it Wuling as micro EV. So yeah, including Wuling, this is maybe Wuling #2 or #1, but we call it micro EV. So Wuling now around maybe 4,000 units until February. So I'm back to explain to all of you regarding the impact of fiscal incentive. So after February and then March, government tried to give us incentive for value-added tax. And then in April, our sales that previously per month only 100, 200 units become 1,000 per month. So this is big impact. Government give us incentive and create a good production and also sales. This is our mapping for our production. So currently we focus in West Java investment near Jakarta. Our office is in Jakarta, head office. Our head office is headquarter of Asia Pacific and ASEAN. So we moved from Malaysia in last 2019, and our factory central is in Cikarang and Karawang. So next year, maybe we have opportunity to export to ASEAN countries and become hub of ASEAN and Asia Pacific for battery and for electric car. This is our support for charging station. So Hyundai support for charging station not only for public charging, but also we support for private charging and also for corporation charging. Why I call the corporation charging? Because except we provide charging for home charging for each customer, we also make collaboration with hotel, restaurant, and many stakeholders to make mutual benefit between Hyundai. So maybe if here any investor would like make cooperation with Hyundai regarding how we can make cooperation regarding charging, later we can discuss. And next also we install charging for public. So in several projects, Hyundai donate to some institutions, and this charging currently become public charging station. So any brand can charge in Hyundai charging station, not only brand of Hyundai. So every brand can charge in these charging stations. And next, I would like to explain you our commitment for achieve net zero emission mobility in Indonesia and global. So Hyundai not only focus in car electric mobility, but we focus to another area in Indonesia and also in global. As you know that in previous year in G20, Hyundai has contributed to support for G20 car by provide Genesis G80 EV and also Ioniq 5. This is to give awareness for public to global that we ready for zero emission mobility in future. And here we also have electric bus. And before today event, I discussed with Transjakarta. Maybe next we need sitting together, how we can develop together Transjakarta and Hyundai to make collaboration, how we can develop Jakarta with smart and also green city by provide goods, mobility, electrified bus vehicle. And also, as you know, maybe someone are researching in Google search that Hyundai make cooperation with new capital city in Kalimantan that we will support for electrification we call as urban air mobility. This is like airplane or like drone, but can be occupied by 4 or 5 passengers. This is like private helicopter, but this is pure electric vehicle with many motor. But helicopter is just one motor, but this is many motor. And also we will support for carrier vehicle by supply by hydrogen. And now we communicate with some parties how we can collaborate to develop more friendly vehicle, more carrier vehicle, and step by step we need to change current ICE vehicle, current ICE truck, bus to become maybe electrified or hydrogen vehicle. And this is also we offer today, as I promised in second chapter, I would like to share you new opportunity investment in electric vehicle. So as the existing conditions that usually after 10 until 15 years, the battery and the car only be scrapped. But we hope we have opportunity to collect it and then to make this battery to become new storage energy system, become mobility charging system. So this is new area that maybe together we can create it to become new business project in future. And if this mobile power bank, this is maybe already reject and we cannot use it, finally we can scrap it, become material that can be recycled and can be used again in our battery system. So this is a final proposal that we offer to all of stakeholders, universities, government institutions, how we can collaborate to make this project we call as U-based project system. We can use this for genset, like if we have wedding ceremony, today we use diesel generator, but later we can use this genset to make more eco-friendly mobile genset by battery system. Yeah, this is my last presentation. Thank you very much. Kamsahamnida, selamat sore, makasih.
Thank you, Mr. Tri, for that presentation, and to all our speakers as well for providing us with such a good hour of presentations. For now, we're going to go on to the Q&A session. I've got a list of questions to go through, and I'm sure I've got a lot of questions for all of you after your presentations as well. My first question will be posed to all of you, actually. So I'm going to start with Mr. Tri first, all the way down to Mr. Arianto. We have thrown out a lot of stats today, and one of which is, Indonesia's plan to reach net zero by 2060. Also alongside the fact that Indonesia is commencing to produce 13 million electric motorbikes and 2.2 electric cars by 2030. Also for aiming for the EVs to account for about 20% of vehicle sales by 2025. I'd like to pose this question to all of you by asking, what is your view on the state of Jakarta's EV infrastructure at the moment? And what is one challenge to getting to any of those goals that I've just said earlier, or to your goals that you've mentioned as well? I'm going to start with Mr. Tri, and then I'll go on to the next.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Mugar. So let me explain for the current infrastructure for EV in Jakarta. So currently, we call the infrastructure for EV, mainly we focus in charging stations, how we can develop charging station in Jakarta, especially for public charging station. But based on our survey, currently our private car, this is a Ioniq 5. This is usually if we use in Jakarta, because if based on our data, currently Jakarta have market share for electric vehicle around 54%, and mainly our sales for electric vehicle focus in Java, because Java dominate around 92% for population electric vehicle from Hyundai. So if we focus in Jakarta, I think home charging is currently is still enough for infrastructure, but for several spot area, we need to add like cooperation with some institution, for example, hotel, restaurant, or another parties, government building to develop charging stations. So I think currently in Jakarta, the infrastructure is good enough, but we need to increase, especially in several areas that if we dominate the market, we need to add more charging stations, especially for public charging stations.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sri, for providing your insight. And on to Mr. Daud.
Okay, so in my perspective as public transport operators, bus operators, our battery is 380 kilowatt hour capacity. To charge this battery in 4 hours, you need a 100 kilowatt hour per capacity of charger. And you don't have that huge charger inside the city. You only build that in your depots. So in case our bus runs out of battery in the middle of our operation, then there's no lifesaver. So now maybe for private vehicles owner, they have some charging facilities inside the town. But for public transport, there's still no. Meanwhile, while we're building the new charging station at our depot, a very strict procedures and bureaucration still has to be met. So now I must say that we have still a long way of making the public transportation, the charging infrastructure friendly for public transport operators.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daud. And on to nicely to PLN's representative here.
Okay, thank you. Maybe talking about the EV ecosystem, we always talk about the EV charging station, but we have to understand that based on data, it is only 20% of EV users using the EV charging station. There are 80% of them using the charger in their home. So instead of building this charging station is it also important, right? But we need to focus on, maybe for me it is socializing to the society that this EV is really important, not only to like a lifestyle, but only for also to help the environment. And I still think about I'm curious about this EV infrastructure. We have built in Jakarta 53 EV charging station, but we believe that not all. We see in several stations it's not much people using the station. That's why I think the most important things, or the one challenge that we have to tackle, it is that the society need to understand that they have to use this EV not only for them but for the environment.
Those are really good points you brought up there, which we will touch on a little bit later on. But for Mr. Arianto, I would love to hear your thoughts on this.
I think for charging station, especially for private vehicle, is not, I think, the same. It's not a big issue. For the important thing is how to ask the people to change with all of vehicle from ICE to EV. Because for charging station, I'm using EV, and I'm charge my car only at home. I don't need to use a public charging station. That is, I think, is full enough for me to charge my EV at home. I think that's for me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Arianto. I want to go on to the point of the consumers and the society. I think you mentioned, Mr. Bayu, you know, the importance of having people know the importance of moving into the EV revolution, if you might. So I know that the government has implemented tax incentives, you know, for motorized vehicle title transfer fees on EV batteries for road transportation, such as the imposition of a 0% tax on EVs. From PTPLN standpoint, you know, how have such incentives influenced consumer interest and the sales of EVs in Jakarta?
Yeah, I think it is important, right? Based on the Hyundai said that when the government give or decrease some zero taxes for VAT taxes or any other taxes that is decreased by our government, it is so important. But you know that the technology is also important. 2 days ago, I've joined an international battery summit. That they informed that even though that in this 2023, the batteries price is even more higher than the last year because the demand is so higher. The demand is so high, so it is always give the impact for the price of battery itself. I mean, okay, we can agree that the some incentive can stimulus the EV buyer to buy the EV, but we have to concerns about the technology itself. We are rich of nickel or something like that, but we have to make something maybe by a regulation to accelerate the technology to build this EV ecosystem.
Yeah, no, really good points there. And I guess for the regulation side of things, I'll go to Mr. Arianto later on. But I wanted to get this to Mr. Turi. Being from Hyundai, you know, you manufacture consumer vehicles. And with that, obviously your role in this market is quite important to push consumers towards that point. So how do you see consumer interest in EVs in Jakarta? And what are the main challenges you see in the adoption of EV vehicles here?
Yeah, actually, what is the future and current EV in Jakarta? Actually, from car maker, we have a strategy of marketing. We effort to produce car to make awareness. But for EV, I think the most main role to support this EV is not only car maker, but the main core is government. How government of Jakarta can give us support to accelerate this EV. For example, I give clue how we can shifting current vehicle to become EV. For example, we make limitation for current ICE. Limitation maybe in 20 years, 30 years. So vehicle that have lifetime or ride more than 20 years cannot more drive in Jakarta. So we can change the current ICE to become EV. And also Jakarta now is many motorcycle. This is also the concern. If we focus in car, but our ending is not only how to convert car, right? But our ending is regarding emission. So we need to make strategy how we can decrease all of carbon emissions, including motorcycle. Because if motorcycle give emit and if our cars give emit that emission decrease, but motorcycle still running in Jakarta, this is with emission with gasoline. This is will not give impact. We can reduce our emissions. So the main rule to increase the electrification in Jakarta is how government of Jakarta can support to increase sales by maybe limited the current period of ICE, then like Transjakarta have target in 2030 100% bus should be EV. So maybe in Jakarta need to inform to car maker that stepping with real number mentioned that maybe in 2030, 60% of Jakarta cars must be EV. By this mention the quantity number, this will trigger quantity of sales that's dramatically increase in Jakarta. So this is my opinion and my projections. So from Hyundai itself, yeah, as I mentioned in my presentation, that we have planned to increase our capacity in 150,000 in next years. But if government of Indonesia and government of Jakarta not support this by real number of vehicle, sure we cannot absorb this target. Maybe we just export our battery, not convert to the vehicle. So this is also become not good benefit for Indonesia because we have battery, but we export to another countries, not become vehicle. So need support from all stakeholders, especially from government, how we can push the electrification and we can improve our emission. The final ending is emission and carbon. This is my comment. Thank you.
No, those are really, really good points you brought out. I think the whole, priority from the government as well in pushing out regulations to have the condition optimal for players like Hyundai, Transjakarta as well to reach its goals. I think all super important. So again, this coming to back to you, Mr. Arianto, for later on. But before that, I wanted to go to Mr. Daud. As part of the electrification transition, Transjakarta have announced that it plans to have an entirely electrified bus fleet by 2030 and to add about 10,200 electric buses to its fleet, which is a very, very big number. I'd like to know, how is Transjakarta working with the government to ensure that their 2030 goal is met, and what is most needed to meet this goal?
Okay, so the declaration is made in the C40 summit commitment. So the commitment to achieve 10,000 or 100% public transportation vehicles becoming EV is made by the provincial government. So we are implementing the policy. So as far as the policy is still consistent, then we will implement all our buses using electric buses. So along the way, how should we convince the government that this is not only about shifting ICE to electric, but the shift creates additional benefits. So that's what we are doing right now. We are finding a method of searching the unique benefit created by the electric buses already implemented right now. For example, we are already operating 52 buses now. But if you spread the 52 buses all over the city, you will not sense the difference because it is scattered. Now our strategy is focus the operation of the 52 buses in certain region only. So we can see the difference of the pollution in that area before we use electric buses and after we shift it into electric buses. That's one of the main idea and activity that now we are doing to convince the government that this is the right policy to do and we should be consistent up to 2030.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daud. And on to you, Mr. Arianto. Could you elaborate, on the government's initiative to encourage the adoption of electric vehicles in both the public transportation sector and the private transportation sector?
Okay, from government side, we will be consistent, try to consistent and with our policy, and we always try to evaluate our policy to make it better and match with manufacturer or public sector. So, government always support from for private uh, vehicle, also for public transportation. So we try to make it better, better, and better.
Thank you so much, Mr. Arianto. I wanted to stay with you for one more question because obviously it's not only your ministry that has got a part to play in this EV revolution. Various ministries, the government has to be working together. Tell us more about how the various ministries in Indonesia is working together to encourage the EV adoption rate here.
For EV adoption, we have a president's instruction for every government, for central government and local government must using BEV. I think that is a very good regulation to push all the ecosystem to start using EV, starting from government and then starting from people, and we hope all ecosystem will work together to make a great EV ecosystem.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to move on to the point of investment potential here because we're all in the Jakarta Investment Forum today. A recent study showed that the market size for Indonesia's EV ecosystem is set to exceed 20 billion by 2030, and with vehicles and sales dealership expecting to hit up to 2 billion in market size in the next 10 years. But yet, as we all have already discussed, the EV sector here is still relatively nascent. I'm going to pose this question to Mr. Tri, Daud, and also Mr. Bayu on this. What has been the main challenge you think for investors in developing EV in Jakarta? I'm going to start with Mr. Tri first.
Currently, the main challenges to implement the EV in Jakarta is how we can decrease our price, because many times, because currently Hyundai only have Ioniq 5 Genesis, price is around, this is already cut by value added tax incentive around 10%. So current price is around 600 million until 1 billion, around 1 billion for Genesis. So the price still expensive. So this is our challenge to decrease our product price, and also battery. Current battery price also still expensive per kilowatt hours, around more than 100 US dollar per kilowatt hours, more than 150 around. So this is very expensive. So we have target to decrease 1 kilowatt hour around 1 kilowatt hour around 500, 500 and 50 US dollar in future. So our price for battery currently, if compare the total price for vehicle, is around 30% until 50%. So still very expensive. So this is our challenge to decrease first price of car, and then second price of battery. So why in my presentation I mentioned that we study to make car that more suitable for Indonesia market, and yeah, we study now and support from all of stakeholders. We hope we can create new car in future that have price lower than current condition, 600,000. And next, we also now have a challenge to make awareness, brand awareness, because as we know that customers sometimes still consider our traveling distance. For example, if holiday for Idul Fitri, they will use for car to traveling from Jakarta to Solo, or from Jakarta to Sumatra, where is the charging stations? So this is our challenge. Our team has to explain to customer, to convince to customer. So why today I inform to all of you, if this car only be used in Jakarta, I think home charging is enough. But if this car be used to traveling from Jakarta to Surabaya or from Jakarta to maybe to Palembang, we need to consider and also to think about charging station in specific area. We need to develop it specific number, because this is our challenge currently. If this EV be travel for long distance and maybe any traffic jam, for example, if Idul Fitri holiday, maybe 3 hours traffic jam in toll road. So this is also become concern. So this is our challenge. And next, we concern with localization or supply chains. Because in Indonesia, player only two, Wuling and Hyundai. So when we asking to customer, we asking to supplier, they are always asking about volume, quantity. So current volume Hyundai per month is around 1,000, and next year maybe will be increased 2 times or 3 times. But if the total volume is around maybe only 40,000 or 50,000 and next year. So we need another investor to create supply chains, to create component in Indonesia with our price. Because if the volume is increased, the price is dramatically decrease. This is the formula. So the challenge first from price vehicle, price battery, the distance, and then the challenge regarding the supply chains. And another awareness. So we need to make sure to the public, to the all stakeholder that EV is a solution for the future, because sometimes customer or media asking regarding current power plants that still use coal. So this is also a concern. So we need to focus that my job is to create car, to make solution for car that more eco-friendly. So always someone or any party asking that the PLN's power source still come from coal. So why Hyundai not solve this? Oh, this is not our part. Our part is producing car. So as my presentation, so why I explain correlation between power plant and car maker, because sometimes someone or an institution make this noise to the public that make awareness for EV not so good. So we need to create awareness also to the customer. And next we need to invite another investor. Yeah. Investor is not only car investor but also component investor. This is our challenge. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Chair. I think there's a lot that you said over there as well. And I wondered actually from Mr. Daud's point of view, do you also share similar thoughts on the challenges that they face in terms of investment?
So the challenges are two: technical aspect and non-technical aspect. The technical aspects is, one of them is the battery. We are searching for a manufacturer that can provide us with battery warranty up to 10 years. We still haven't found such thing until now. And then the second one is the climate difference. We haven't yet produced electric bus in Indonesia. The manufacturers are either in China, in Taiwan, in Japan, or in Europe. Those countries has different climates with us. For example, the biggest thing is AC, air conditioner. Maybe you experience outside the hotel, it's even more humid and hotter rather than in China or in Europe. So the battery consumption is higher here because we need to put the AC on a high scale, not in the low scale. Not in China, not in Europe. So that's the technical challenges. The non-technical challenges are, the first one already mentioned, the price of the EV buses is 250% more expensive. In a business perspective, that makes transportation business using EV buses 2.5 times more difficult to achieve profitability. And the next one is, back 5 years ago, I visited Shenzhen in China. In Shenzhen, they operate 99% buses using EV buses. Questions coming up in my mind: how do the government convince the bus operators to use EV? Number one, they give the land for free to EV bus operators. In Jakarta, if you operate bus, you need a huge space to become the bus depots. And that's expensive. In Shenzhen, you got it for free, as long as you operate EV buses. The next one is, they give you tax holiday. If you buy certain spare parts, if you pay your workers, as long as you work in the EV bus operation, you get a tax holiday. So, connecting with your question to the Ministry of Maritime Investment, I think the government should collaborate even more harder to give the bus operators more incentive to shift to electric vehicles.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daud. And on to you, Mr. Bayu, from the infrastructure perspective.
Yeah, the challenges, we have built some partnership scheme for the building EV infrastructure, but you know that in Jakarta we have the challenge even more on the price of the land. You know that we always try to make this business scheme is favorable for the investor, but when we come up to the percentage of the business scheme is the highest. I think in Indonesia, Jakarta one of the highest. The price of the land. So, for example, one investor come to us asking for having a EV charging station. They come to us, but when we see the price of the land is not favorable, financially cannot be accepted. That's the first one. Even though, like I told you before, that 20% of EV users just using the EV charging station, they understand that when they charge their EV in the EV charging station, they have to pay more. We know it, but we have to understand that PLN is under regulation. So when we say the tariff, PLN itself cannot set the tariff. It is asking for the ministry, mineral resource ministry, for the tariff, even for the EV charging tariff. So sometimes, because when the land price is higher, our dream to make maybe 20,000 partnership for EV charging station in Indonesia, will be hard to achieve. Maybe in this situation, I think that's the main challenge in Jakarta if PLN side by building this partnership scheme.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bayu, for that. I think we've had a really, really good, presentation of the various opportunities and challenges that we see in Jakarta with respect to the EV industry. With NRI time, I only have one more question for all my speakers today, and that really is a forward-looking one. So I'm going to go from Mr. Chi all the way down to Mr. Arianto, just to give you some time to prepare as well. What is your vision for the EV industry here in Jakarta, and what is one thing that needs to be done to get there? One challenge is that I have 60 seconds for each of you to answer this final question.
Yeah, our vision for electrification in Jakarta, yeah, as I mentioned in my presentation, we need to follow the global trend that currently our target is net zero emission in 2050, and as you know that currently Indonesia is net importer for fossil fuel. We import 70% our fuel, gasoline and diesel for our transportation. So we need to support government to decrease our importation for fossil fuel. So our vision is we follow global trend in order to we shifting our transportation mobility to become more eco-friendly. Indonesia is capital of Indonesia. So we need to create Jakarta brighter, smarter, greener. Maybe I have ambition like in Singapore. Maybe we need to create net zero emission in Jakarta in 2030. Because Singapore already announced that Singapore will faster create net zero emission not in 2050 but 2030. Maybe, yeah, we have vision. Maybe Jakarta suddenly can create that in 2030 or 2035, like Transjakarta vision. We're shifting 100% our mobility is electrification, net zero emission. So this is my vision, and I hope all stakeholders need to support this, not only Hyundai and government, but all stakeholders, it means society, NGO, because emission and carbon is not only task of Hyundai, because this is our planet, this is our environment. If someone come to Jakarta and the emission very bad, this will impact to our health, not only my health, but tourism health. So this is our jobs to improve our city, our capital city. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Trey, and on to Mr. Daud.
So the market of e-buses in Indonesia is huge. As long as we, the three of us, the manufacturer, the government, and the bus operators can convince that using electric buses is more beneficial in terms of money, then there is still so many cities in Indonesia is looking forward to see the result of Transjakarta implementing e-buses. So if we succeed in proving that this is beneficial, the business is real.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Bayu.
For me, is for net zero emission in 2060 is I think we have to support all element of in this country, government, local government, investor, or bank, even bank have to understand that this is our job as our in this generation. For PLN itself, we have RUPTL. It is like our budget for national plan in the future. It is the greenest RUPTL that we have this year to support our commitment to achieve the target of this country. But again, I think with the collaboration, the government trying to give the role for the decrease the taxes, and for PLN itself trying to give up sufficient electricity supply for the investor sector and for the bank or for the EV producer, trying their best to make a good price for our customer. I think those collaboration, we believe that our dream to achieve this 2060 for net zero emission can be achieved.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bayu. And on to Mr. Arianto, the last speaker here.
For me, it's simple. It's just let's start to using EV. You can start from public transportation. You can start with your private vehicle. You can start with your motorcycle, or you can start with your car. For me, we can work together to start using EV. Maybe right here, right now. I think the most important thing is we can start.
Thank you so much. And I think on that very, very hopeful note, I have the difficult task of just summarizing very quickly of what we've said in today's session. We know that the global trend towards a sustainable future is here, and it requires the entire industry, the entire country to work together to get to a net zero Indonesia by 2060, hopefully sooner. There's massive investment and potential, in the EV industry space in Jakarta, but this requires favorable government incentives and policies for the conversion of gasoline-powered vehicles into EV, and also the adoption of new EV vehicles as well in both the public transportation and also the private transportation sector as well. In terms of the infrastructure support, obviously, there is work to be done there, but I'm very happy to hear today that, there are leaps and there are efforts into putting investment, to putting finance, into putting partnerships into this space as well, and which, I think essentially we all know now there is a whole of industry, whole of government approach to make this shift towards a net zero Indonesia, Jakarta, a success. With that, I want to thank all our panelists for the very insightful discussion today. Everyone, a round of applause for them. We have reached the end of the event, but before we close with the closing video, I'd like to have all our panelists take a photo together. Should we stand? Should just return to their seats for the closing video for this forum.
As we conclude Jakarta Investment Forum 2023, I welcome you for a bigger collaboration to foster Jakarta in becoming a global city and beyond. See you at the next Jakarta Investment Forum.
We have introduced our investment opportunity, facilitated one-on-one meeting between the project owner and potential investors, as well as ignited discussion with the experts and policymakers through Jakarta Investment Forum 2023. We hope that you could join us in transforming Jakarta to be a better city for all. See you at the next Jakarta Investment Forum.
On behalf of the Jakarta Provincial Government, I convey my deepest gratitude to all distinguished speakers, investors, business entities, and guests for participating in Jakarta Investment Forum 2023. It's a great honor for us to meet global business leaders in encouraging stronger global cities for the prosperity of the people. Let's come and collaborate with Jakarta. See you at the next Jakarta Investment Forum.
See you at the next Jakarta Investment Forum.
With that, we have reached the end of the event. Once again, let's give a big applause to Jakarta Investment Forum 2023. I am Megan C signing off today as your moderator, and see you at the next Jakarta Investment Forum.